In this episode of the Butt Chronicles, we take a look at Beavis and Butt-Head, episode 53, True Crime.
Welcome to Industrial Industries World Radio's The Butt Chronicles.
You said welcome.
Oh God.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and butt munches alike. Welcome to the Butt Chronicles, your audio guide to everything Beavis and Butt-Head. And I'm your host, DJ Glowing Ice. Well, I hope this audio is meeting you well, and you're in good health and good fortune and all that stuff. Just giving you a bunch of big wishes. And I appreciate that now. I just finally did this. I went into the podcast app, at least Apple Podcasts, and I simply searched Beavis. And the Butt Chronicles was the first result, this podcast. And it's great. It's a great feeling. And I think it wouldn't have been able to happen without you guys rating the show. I see we got 6 ratings now on the show, at least on Apple Podcasts. So I appreciate every one of you out there that is giving this little show a chance and actually going through some extra clicking to rate the show. I appreciate it very much, actually, like from the bottom of my heart. Anyways, now that they got that mushy shit out of the way, let's get into Beavis and Butt-Head, episode 53, which is True Crime. It first aired on MTV on November 1st, 1993, and yeah, that's all we need to know for now. So, what does happen to Beavis and Butt-Head in True Crime? Well, let's check it out. The episode starts with Beavis and Butt-Head walking down a sidewalk in the city. They walk past a bank with an outdoor lobby with an ATM built into the wall. The name of the bank on the building reads National Homeowners Savings and Loan, and a sign displayed in the window reads, Thinking about financing? 7.8%. Butthead says, Banks are cool.
Yeah, that's where they keep all the money,
replies Beavis. Cutting to a shot of the boys up close, Butthead says in a serious voice, imitating bank quotes, Substantial penalty for early withdrawal. The boys both laugh, until a fast chirping sound coming from the ATM gets their attention. A close-up shot of the bank's ATM has a card sticking halfway out of its slot. The screen on the ATM reads, Please remove card, as well as an automated voice saying, Please remove card as well. Cool. It's one of those money machines. As the boys walk up to the ATM, Beavis says,
Hey, somebody left a card. Shove it in, Butthead.
No way. You shove it in. From the ATM's point of view, we see the boys' faces as Beavis pushes the card in with his finger. Thank you. Please enter password, the ATM says, as the screen on the ATM reads, Welcome. Please enter your password. Hey, Beavis. How do you spell chode?
Check this out,
Beavis says, as he then pushes on a bunch of random numbers on the keypad. The ATM screen turns black, then reads, 1 moment please. It then reads, thank you. The ATM money slot opens up and then shoots out cash all over the ground. An automated voice from the ATM says, thank you for using First Homeowners. The boys then grab as much cash as they can off the ground and stuff it into their pants and up their shirts. Zooming away from the boys, we see security cameras attached to the ceiling, moving around and catching it all on tape. The boys stand up in shock, and then they look around to see if anybody saw them. It then cuts to 4 black and white security camera screens that catch Beavis and Butt-Head running away together in 4 different angles. The next scene, we're back at Beavis and Butt-Head's house, as they both sit on the couch as piles of cash are stacked on the TV, the floor, and all over the couch. As the boys watch TV, Butt-Head says, Maybe we should go buy something.
Yeah. Like what?
Looking at the TV, we see a parody of the crime show America's Most Wanted. The host on the show says, Good evening, and welcome to America's Most Hated. The host then gestures his hand to a screen. What you are about to see is a crime so heinous. Anus? Butthead says excitedly. So repulsive, so actual, it may shake your very faith in human nature. It then cuts to the black and white security footage from earlier, showing Beavis and Butt-Head at the ATM and getting money out of it. What we are about to show you is actual videotape of the actual crime. This sucks.
Yeah, I want to see some domestic disputes.
Back to the host. This videotape shows these criminals actually robbing one of the ready tellers. It then shows the boys looking a little stunned. Then back to the TV as the host says, "A victimless crime? No way." It then cuts to a basketball player in a red uniform with the number 28 on it as he sits on the couch. The basketball player says, "I stepped away from the keno table, Bob. Then those creeps attacked me. Took that bank card right out of my wallet." "Bust him!" yells Butt-Head.
Yeah, give those guys the chair. The chair! The chair!
Back to the basketball player as he says, "What I don't get is how they figured out my password. Balls. How did they know I was a pro?" Back to the host. One fine eyewitness, a cleaning woman who concealed herself behind a trash bin, was willing to tell us what she saw. We see a maid in a gray uniform holding a mop with a white sensor bar over her eyes, saying, "One of them was a really ugly fella, Bob. Kept scratching his butt." Cut to the boys on the couch as we see Butt-Head scratching his butt. We then hear the TV host say, "This telltale gesture just may eventually lead police to the robber's lair." Back to the maid as she is now crying, saying, "They should pay for their crimes." Back to the host sitting at his desk. He points to the screen displaying pencil sketches of Beavis and Butt-Head, and he then says, "Our America's most hated crime artists created sketches of what we believe these two look like. If you have any information about these career criminals, please dial our information hotline." Back to the boys on the couch. Beavis says,
Hey, Butt-Head, let's call and say we know those guys.
"Yeah, maybe there's a reward." As the boys continue watching TV, a parody of the show A Current Affair, titled An Undercurrent Affair, comes on. A male and female host sit at a desk as the male host says, "Authorities remain baffled in their search for two mysterious robbers who seem to have dropped completely out of sight." The female host continues, "Tonight, we recreate exactly what might have occurred that terrible night." It then cuts to a dramatization of two men made up to look like Beavis and Butt-Head as they pull up in front of the bank in a convertible car. Creepy piano music starts playing as the male host says, "What you are about to see is a dramatization by professional thespians." "Professional lesbians?" Butt-Head asks. Cut to the actor in the car portraying Butt-Head as he says, "Travis, check it out. Another cash machine ripe for the picking. Ha 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 ha. These cash machines are the best thing that ever happened to criminals like us. Ha 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 ha." It then shows the actor portraying Beavis as he says,
Ha ha ha, I can practically smell the cash.
He then takes a few deep breaths and laughs. "They should arrest those lesbians."
Yeah, use the taser, zap 'em in the butt.
Back to the TV, as it shows the actors at the ATM putting on rubber gloves. They then take a drill and crowbar to the ATM until it breaks open. They then grab stacks of cash from inside. While we see this, we hear the host say, "Who are these monsters?" While it is not clear that these thieves work on a national or international scope, it is known that they are wily and they are dangerous. It then shows the actors speed away from the bank as an alarm bell rings. "Cool," Butt-Head says, as the boys then laugh. The next show that the boys are watching on TV is a parody of the show Cops, called Coppers. In the show, we see police officers in gray vests loading up the back of a van with guns and boxes of tear gas. One police officer says, "Sometimes I don't know if I'm coming back." Two officers then climb in the back of the van, cock their shotguns, shut its back doors, and then the van starts driving through a neighborhood. The theme song for Cops, Bad Boys, plays as an announcer says,
Coppers is filmed live on location with the men and women of law enforcement.
all suspects are considered innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Whoa, check out that neighborhood. I've been there.
Yeah.
On the TV, we see the cops that are in the back of the van planning their attack. One cop says, "Okay, now remember to take out the big guy first. He's armed and completely irrational." Cut to the boys on the couch as they're now looking worried and listening out inside their house. "Okay, move, move, move!" the cop yells from the TV, as it then shows the cops jumping out of the van and storming Beavis and Butt-Head's house. The boys continue watching TV as their house shakes from cops hitting their front door with a battering ram. "Hey Beavis, did you hear something?"
Yeah, I thought it was you.
They continue watching TV as they see a shot from inside of their house as their door is being broken down. As the door breaks down, 4 cops storm into Beavis and Butt-Head's house with guns, yelling for them to not move and to get down. The cops grab the boys and put their arms behind their backs. Looking at the boys' TV, it shows them live on TV, sitting on their couch getting arrested. Butthead looks at the cops, and then himself and Beavis on TV. Hey, those 2 guys don't look like anything those 2 lesbians they were after. The boys get thrown onto the floor face down and handcuffed.
Shut up, Butthead. They're gonna use the taser. The taser.
The cops' theme song, Bad Boys, plays, as the cops then push the boys' heads down to the floor. And that's the end of Beavis and Butt-Head in True Crime. Now let's check out the music videos. First music video is Ice Ice Baby by Vanilla Ice, and the boys look at each other throughout the video as it plays. They don't say anything, and then Beavis just changes it. Next is Man in the Box by Alice in Chains, and Beavis imitates the lead guitar riff, and then they headbang to it, and the boys talk about how the video is cool and it kicks ass. In the video, they see the singer inside of a fence, and Butthead says, "Check it out. They put that dude in a fence."
Yeah, fences are cool.
Especially electric fences.
Yeah. When I was little and had no sense, I took a whiz on an electric fence. It hurt so bad, it shocked my balls, then I took a crap in my overalls.
Whoa, that was pretty cool. The boys see a man in the video with his eyes sewn shut, and Beavis says,
He must have seen something so horrible, like his eyeballs melted.
"Maybe he saw that Winger video." And then the boys laugh. Next music video is Demolition Man by Grace Jones, and Butthead says that the video sucks, and the boys don't know who is singing. They take a few guesses and they just can't get it right. Butthead scratches his butt and then later says, "This man has lipstick on."
This is scary. Can I sleep at your house tonight?
I don't know. I'll ask my mom's boyfriend.
Never mind.
And then the last music video is Hay Fever by the Trash Can Sinatras. Butthead shakes his head really fast, just like the dude in the video, and he says, "I have a bad feeling about this video. This is just another bunch of British mama's boys."
Yeah. Where is Britain?
I think it's somewhere near English.
Yeah, that's where everybody talks like a wuss.
Yeah. I believe I will go spunk my monkey.
Yeah, me too.
That's your music videos. Now let's get into the fun facts. Okay, so fun facts. I found one blooper, and you probably wouldn't catch it unless you take the time and read all the little signs and details in the cartoon, but the bank that they got the money from was named National Homeowners Savings and Loan. And after Beavis and Butthead get the money from the ATM says, "Thank you for using First Homeowners." It's a little minor blooper, but yes, the ATM says First Homeowners instead of National Homeowners. This is one of the few episodes in Season 3 that used digital ink and paint, much like the first couple seasons of the show. And when the boys watched the music video for Grace Jones, you could see all the money that they got throughout the story of the episode sitting on the couch and everywhere else. No other music videos throughout this episode continues with the storyline except the Grace Jones music video. This episode was never officially released, and True Crime is the 22nd episode of Season 3 of Beavis and Butt-Head, and it's the 53rd episode overall. And IMDb, the Internet Movie Database, gives Beavis and Butt-Head in True Crime a 7.7 out of 10 rating. And now, I will give you my review. You know, I thought at first that I never saw this episode before, and it was only until I saw the Alice in Chains music video where Beavis sings the Electric Fence song that I was like, oh, I have seen this episode, because I remember that. That stuck out more than anything else in this episode was that little song that Beavis sings. You know, it's still stuck in my head about Beavis and how he peed on this electric fence and he crapped in his overalls. And I kind of forgot the middle part of the lyrics, but watching this back, I was like, yes, this is the episode where he sings it in. And it's like I could now finally catalog where I could find Beavis singing this song, and it's right here, episode 53. I don't really have any other memories watching this episode. I can't tell you that, oh, back in 1993, I was sitting there watching it, and my dad laughed. And no, it's like, it's all a blank to me. But for some reason, I vaguely remember like seeing the recreation of Beavis and Butt-Head on that show, and that's about it. That's all I can really remember. So rewatching this episode as a whole, like it was pretty much fresh to me. So okay, Beavis and Butt-Head, they come across this ATM. Someone's card is left in it. They just push it in, and surprisingly, they hit the right PIN numbers, and all this money starts shooting out. They grab it and run off. I mean, they're simple boys. I mean, what would you do if you're 14, 15 years old, just like Beavis and Butt-Head? You know? Are you going to run up and say, excuse me, sir? Sir, there's all this money? No, hell no. You're going to grab it and run. Just like any other normal teenage boy would. I certainly would. And then after that, though, it kind of just turns into Beavis and Butt-Head watching a bunch of shows. And I kind of seen this episode as like a vehicle just for the writers or whoever was in charge of creating this episode to do parodies of certain TV shows that were on during the 90s. You know, all these kind of true crime dramatization shows, America's Most Wanted, Cops, you know, A Current Affair, all that. So that's what I thought the main focus of this episode was just back-to-back parodies of these TV shows from back in the day. I feel like this episode was a very solid episode. The music videos were great. Beavis singing the Electric Fence song, crapping in his overalls. That's golden. That's like a highlight of the entire series of Beavis and Butt-Head. Just him singing that song alone. Beavis and Butt-Head, they get arrested at the very end. You know, it comes to a close. The cops find them. How did they find them? Security footage. So it's all wrapped up in a nice little bow and a nice little story right there. There's a lot of little good moments in there, too. How the basketball player says his password was balls. So I'm going to have to give this I'll give this a 7.5 out of 10. 7.5, it's nearing an 8, but yeah, let's give it a 7.7. Let's break it down even more. 7.7 out of 10 rating. Wait, what the fuck? That's exactly the same rating of IMDb. I didn't even try to do that. I totally forgot that was the rating. Holy shit. Yeah, so there we go. I agree with IMDb, or the users on there. Beavis and Butt-Head, True Crime, gets a 7.7 out of 10 rating.